Hey everybody, I'm Rob Freeman and welcome back to Insuring the Built Environment. This is episode 156, and in this video we're going to be talking about the difference between utility service interruption coverage and overhead transmission lines insurance coverage. And if you enjoy this video, you find something useful about it, you can hit the like button here below. And if you have questions or you need to talk to me about your insurance for your business, you can schedule an appointment with me at robfreeman.com. So what is the difference between overhead transmission lines insurance and utility service interruption insurance coverage? Both of these terms are sometimes confused for the other, and they're used interchangeably when they're actually quite different in terms of what they cover and their implications for the type of business that you have. Utility service interruption coverage basically covers you if there's some sort of loss or damage that you experience at your business as a result of some damage, physical damage at the utility itself that causes your business to lose money or get physically damaged. And this is something that would be normally excluded from your property insurance policy, because your property insurance policy is really just for the covered premises that you own, not for something that is away from your business, like something that happens at a utility. And that really just covers damage for the utility and extends it if that is a result of some sort of damage that happens to your business or your business lose money as a result of the utility damage. But what's often excluded from that is transmission lines coverage, meaning coverage for the lines and the poles that are outside, exposed to the elements that are between the utility itself and your business. And this is a common exclusion, or it's a carve out that happens with respect to having this utility service interruption coverage, is that you might be covered if something happens at the utility, but if you don't have the extension of the coverage for overhead transmission lines, then if something happens and there's a storm, say there's a big winter storm, and a tree falls down, it takes out some lines, or it takes out an electricity pole, a utility pole, and your business is out, it doesn't have electricity for a week, then your insurance policy, unless it has that coverage for overhead transmission lines, it may be excluded. Rather, it may be denied. The claim may be denied. And so that's the big difference between utility service interruption, which is physical damage that happens at the utility itself, overhead transmission lines coverage, which covers the lines and the poles between the utility itself and your business. And so that's a big difference to be aware of. And just remember that when you're looking at insurance for your business, that your property insurance, which is made up of two things, it covers the physical damage to your property, and then the business interruption, which covers the loss of income as a result of your business being shut down for a period of time because of physical damage. That property insurance is usually going to exclude utility service interruption and or transmission lines, overhead transmission lines claims. So you need to talk to your insurance broker and make sure that stuff is covered if that's really important to you. And you can also get, just an added thing here, is you can also get insurance to cover you for the deductible or the time element waiting period that you're going to have with pretty much any of these policies. So if you have a restaurant, say like a really high-end restaurant where you can't afford to have no electricity for 2 days because of the cost of the value of the inventory that you would lose, you might, if you have some really expensive fish or meats, or you have refrigerated high-end other types of foods that would go bad if the refrigeration went down for 24 hours. Most property policies are going to have a deductible or time element waiting period where you're just going to have to eat that before the insurance policy will kick in. And for a high-end restaurant or somebody that needs to be 99.9% of the time, that might not be acceptable. And so you can get insurance to fill that gap from a very early period right after a moment when something happens. Anyway, that's in a nutshell. Utility service interruption and overhead transmission lines coverage are two different things. They can be added by endorsement to your property insurance policy, but in order to get that transmission lines coverage, even if you have utility service interruption, you'll want to have that added on, included within that endorsement for utility service interruption to make sure you're covered for those exposed lines and poles between your business and the utility itself. So anyway, thanks again for watching. I hope you found this useful. If you need to get in touch with me, schedule an appointment with me at robfreeman.com. Thanks again and have a great day.